So here's something I believe about. Well, I'm going to talk about it in terms of marketing, but it's quite a bit broader than that. And so there are some things that people consider to be marketing best practices. And by best practices, what people usually mean is things that seem to have worked for successful people or brands or companies so far, right? And I think what happens is that people tend to perceive the letter of what happens rather than the spirit of it. Meaning, so like one way I talk about it is that you notice that all bodybuilders, all professional bodybuilders at competition level, they all have spray tans, and they use the spray tans to kind of get that final 1%, 5% of polish and shine on their muscle so that it stands out. And you can kind of think that it seems logical to say that, well, all bodybuilders in competitions get spray tans. So if I want to win a bodybuilding competition, I should get a spray tan. You're not wrong entirely, but the spray tan is really the icing on the cake, right? It's like the final thing. And the thing that makes you a bodybuilder is the bodybuilding, just lifting and eating and sleeping and resting. And similarly, I think when people see marketing best practices, or like we are on YouTube, right? Like, so people say, oh, all the successful YouTube accounts have these very polished intros, these very well edited things. And that can be true, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you should be doing. It's like the spray tan, right? And if you get the spray tan too early, it can be it can be kind of iffy, it can be kind of cringe, it might be suboptimal. And there's a selection bias that happens because it's very easy to only look at things after they've already succeeded and not examine what they were doing prior to the level of success that they reach. And so the general marketing principle I would say is, if there's something that you want to do that's fun and exciting and you enjoy it, and it deviates from so-called best practices, you should just do it anyway. Like I genuinely believe that. And I think I'm demonstrating that I believe that by making these videos and making them the way I make them, which is just ramble for now I'm trying to keep it to like 8 minutes. Just ramble for a while and see what happens, right? And talk to people and just do what you think is fun. And that doesn't mean that I believe that everybody else who wants to make it on YouTube or whatever should be doing daily 8-minute ramble videos. No, I'm doing that because that's what I think fits my personality. That's what I think is fun. That's what I think is interesting. That's what I like to do. And I would not advise someone to imitate me and do what I'm doing. Rather, the idea is to do what you feel like doing, what you find fun, what you find enjoyable. Maybe you want to do essays, maybe you want to do history. I don't know what it is that you want to do. I would like to see other people not copy me, but figure out what it is that they enjoy, right? And so copying itself is it's understandable that people might, if they haven't figured out what they want, they part of the process of figuring out what you want is through trying things, right? And part of how people decide what to try is to copy what they see other people do that it seems good. I remember in my early days of blogging, when I was like 19 or 20 years old, I was reading a bunch of stuff in like the blogosphere at the time, which was like Tim Ferriss and all those lifestyle coaches and lifestyle design people. And I don't think I explicitly thought I want to blog like Tim Ferriss, but because that was what I saw and what I was reading, it kind of directly influenced me. And my blog posts were like, lessons I've learned from doing this ABC. And I no longer write blog posts like that. I try to blog like myself, right? And so that's what I kind of want to encourage people to do, which is to be more of themselves, right? Rather than more like somebody else. And how do you figure that out? Yeah, trial and error, experimentation, see how you're dissatisfied with what you're doing and in what direction, right? Evaluate what you like from a range of different sources and try to find the common ground across all of those things. And the interesting thing there is that both of us might like the same 10 artists, musical, theater, cinematic, whatever. We might like the same 10 artists, but when we try to look for what is common in all of those artists, we may arrive at different conclusions, and we probably will, because we each have different taste, that's informed by our life experience, our personality, our everything, right? And so that's the fun. That's the fun of exploring and learning and doing things. And yeah, so I just wanted to talk about that for a bit and encourage people to try things and not feel obliged to follow what other people are doing, and to try weird shit if you want. And again, when nothing is ever truly random in the human domain, like everyone, when either of us try to do something random, we will almost invariably go to something that it's like at some subconscious level is what we wanted to work on or wanted to talk about. And maybe you can do one completely random thing, but if you try to do like 100 random things, there will be patterns in that randomness, and your patterns will be different than my patterns. And the more people we encourage to pursue their own so-called randomness and then kind of have their own personalities flourish and come out, that can create an interesting scene where a bunch of different people have different voices and different styles, and then we can all learn from each other, and we can all challenge each other and riff off of each other, and then that can kind of create something beautiful that I really want to see, right? That's about it. Done.